Welcome to your doom. Shut it and get over here. Massive uppercut!
Hello and welcome to another edition of the JabJab Show. Today I'm reviewing the film Nerve. Nerve is directed by Henry Juice and Ariel Schulman. You might remember them from such films as Paranormal Activity 3, Paranormal Activity 4, and also Catfish. If you've not seen this, check it out, it's really good. And I think they're involved in, there's an MTV series of Catfish, but I've not seen that, I don't have MTV. But anyway, back to the film. It stars Dave Franco, Emma Roberts and Juliette Lewis. I think it's the first film I've seen Juliette Lewis playing a mom in this, which is kind of cool. So like Catfish before it, Nerve is a game that taps into the whole social media aspect of, ways of life and whatever. Nerve is established as truth or dare, but without the truth, which kind of just makes it dare then, so I don't see how it's much like it. Also, you can either be a player or watcher, and it don't really establish much more than that in terms of, where the boundaries, in terms of, you have to do illegal things or whatever. You're just being dared to do different things, for incremental amounts of money and so on, should you complete such task. Emma Roberts plays a character called V. She's like a high school senior, I think. She's a bit shy. She's like a photographer and whatever. She's not really known as being adventurous. And she's got a friend who is pretty much the opposite of her. She's playing Nerve. And there's one night in particular that V is humiliated in front of like other people and whatever, and she goes home like, right, that's it, I'm gonna play Nerve, bugger you all. And so she clicks on the game, and she's a player. Now Nerve then gets all data or personal information and whatever from social media websites, Facebook and whatever. Also bank details and so on. He does this. It explains it quite well. And then she's a player. So she then gets the first dare, which is to go to a cafe. That's all it says, pretty much. And she's got a time limit in which to do this. All the dares have a time limit, and they establish also the in order to complete the dare, you need to kind of film yourself doing it, and obviously within the time limit and so on. So she gets to the cafe and she meets a mysterious character called Ian, played by Dave Franco. He's also playing, and together they certain events take place, and they have to do a dare together and so forth, and so hijinks ensue. So this is a pretty good, fast-paced kind of ride. This film, it's well shot, it's nicely choreographed. If you're scared of heights, there's a few tense scenes in there, like myself. It plays on that. Let's say there's tense moments. It's easy to understand. There's a lot of visuals to help along the way. There's you get the usernames of the players of Nerve, dotted about the city and whatever, following them around. It's all quite well done. It's easy to understand. There's there's jealousy, there's this and that going on between certain characters, and it's good fun, but I do feel also it does take a few liberties with logic, basically. As it in order to move the story along. There's for example, there's a joint bank account between two certain characters, which I don't know. I had a little trouble kind of get my head around why these two characters have a joint account. It doesn't establish if one of the characters in particular has money problems in the past or something, and doesn't have, and therefore has to have a joint account. But it just seems to be a bit too convenient to have someone involved on the periphery, if you will, of the main action to come in. Let's say I don't know if this is the US law where you have to be a certain age before you can get your own bank account. I've not heard anything of that, but someone in the US might be able to say, yeah, you have to be 18 or whatever to get an on bank account. Otherwise, it's joint account. And there's also the fact of there's literally thousands of watchers and players of this game. It tells you, it comes up in a little box, visuals, you know, such like usernames, so many thousands of viewers. It's like a top 10 of, you know, like things. And if you get to number 1, 2, and 3, I think you go, you know, there's a final thing. But what I'm saying is, like, because there's thousands of players, it establishes that, you know, one of the rules of Nervy is don't tell the police, don't tell anyone else about it. It's all like an invitation only or something like that. Who decides what dare they should do? Because, like I say, the amount of people involved, it doesn't establish who's kind of like in control, who's bankrolling this. You know, like I say, the prize money, like the dares get more and more extreme, and who's bankrolling this? Who's giving them the money? Because, you know, they say, like, you know, you won this amount, it goes into your account and so on. It brings it back to this one person who got this joint account and gone, that's a bit weird, that, where are you getting all this money from, blah, 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 you know, all this stuff. Which is fine, but it kind of falls down. It kind of just sketches over these little things. Also, the film is going on, doing its thing, and it's escalating these characters. It ends up that, you know, there's a top 5 or top 10 of these, you know, the players. There's 3, you know, it gets down to about 3 of them, and, you know, they have to all meet at this place and do this thing and whatever it is. And there's also another plot about trying to shut the game down and so on, even though it says earlier you can't shut it down because it's all user based and all the rest of it. So I don't know, this part of the film is where it goes a bit muddier, where it's not too clear on how these things actually come together quite right. It's just it happens, and it's not really as strong, if you will, as what's preceded it. It just felt a bit like rushed. I mean, too convenient for certain characters to be at a certain place at a certain time. But having said that, I liked it. I mean, it's enjoyable enough. I mean, if you can get around the whole, you know, don't overthink these things, which I probably did when watching it. It's enjoyable. It's fast paced and all the rest of it. Dave Franco and Emma Roberts, good chemistry together. They work well. And yeah, it's pretty good. And if you're a fan of Wu-Tang Clan, like me, you'll get a kick out of it, because there's, like, you know, there's a classic track of theirs, Cream, Cash Rules Everything Around Me. And, you know, they use it pretty well in this film. So them's my opinions. What's yours? Just let me know down below, down there. I'm not pointing at me rude bit, I'm talking about the comment section. And just like, subscribe, share, all the rest of it, and tell your friends and everything. So in the words of the new Cyrus, send the word.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,